So, my biological mother had to explain certain things to me, though it happened with experience, of course. So, in San Antonio, Texas, in my house, I had been on eBay. And I was looking and I found this chandelier. And it had this marbleized glass with, intricate adornments. And I saw that the person was from Austin, Texas. And so before bidding on the chandelier thing, I was like, oh, instead of like driving or waiting for it to show up and then like possibility of damage, is it okay if, because I'm in San Antonio, if I go to Austin to go pick it up? And the person female contacted me back, I learned, and she was like, yeah, no problem, this day, this time, if you win the auction. Okay, cool. So while I was looking at it, my biological mother and biological father showed up, and Anna looks at the screen and she's like, oh, what is that? And I'm like, oh, I think, I already got a ceiling medallion and I'm going to paint it and stuff like that to put up there. And then I think that this chandelier will look fantastic to, make the interior, nice and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, that's nice. It's a nice looking chandelier. And, I pointed out a few things and she's like, yeah, that's nice. I'm like, yeah, so, I'm going to do this and da-da-da-da. And Mike, he goes, oh, actually, it's not bad looking. It is what it is, whatever. And I was like, no big deal. So Anna continued on about the whole, oh, it's nice, whatever, da-da-da. Yeah, I like this, I like that, and so on and so forth. And I was like, okay. So the day comes and I wind up actually, winning the auction. Okay, cool. Mike says he'll go with me. I'm like, okay, cool. Make a road trip. It's not that far. It's only Austin from San Antonio. So it's not really that like long of a distance to travel realistically. And at that time I was already traveling back and forth from San Antonio to Fort Worth and back in one weekend at least once a month. So that was nothing comparatively as far as like driving. And so, print out the MapQuest directions, and this was in like 2004, maybe 2003, sometime around there. And so we go driving around, got lost because I didn't have a GPS, I had the MapQuest directions and stuff. They get turned around, there was whatever. And so we show up at this beautiful house and get to the front yard, and the female comes out with her husband. And I'm like, oh, nice to meet you, da-da-da-da-da-da. And so we talk for a whole bunch, and sorry I'm late. I know I'm not late, but I'm late, because got lost, explained the whole thing. We discussed my head injury and stuff like that, and they're just like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. And so the female's husband says, well, we actually have a second one, and it's smaller. It's much smaller, but I mean, it goes with it. We were going to put it in this room and then put this one in this room. And I look at Mike and I say, hey, Anna said that she liked this one. When I showed her the picture, she said it was nice. She said this, that, and the other. I pointed out what I liked, this whole thing. And she was like, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I like it too, whatever. And he was like, okay. And so I think I paid $150 for the big one, or $200 for the big one, and like $90 or $100 for the small one. Okay, cool. Compare it to what they were worth. Yeah, great deal. And so I got, like 2 different chandeliers for the price of less than one. Good deal. And so, just saying. And so, put them in the van. We drive back to San Antonio and go by Mike and Anna's house, and Mike's carrying in the smaller chandelier, and he goes, okay, I'll put this up, and so I'll make a I'll make a ceiling medallion for you guys too, for one that'll fit that one. So I painted it a pale blue and did glitter and stuff like that, whereas mine was a burgundy maroon color with glitter and stuff like that. And Mike knows electrical stuff, so he had done that. And, you know, my biological mother shows up. And she goes, why are there two of them? And I said, oh, and I explained the whole thing. She looks at me and she goes, I said they were, that was, that chandelier that you were looking at is nice, as in like, nice for you. I didn't think that you would get that. And Mike is like, it's actually really good looking. Like, take a look at it. Like, it's actually like, look at the glass work, look at this, look at that, like, pay attention. And he's like, no, this like, the small one is worth like $300. So like, why are you like, and and Anna is just, well, I mean, I meant it was nice, like, for you in your house, not in my house. And I was like, well, I already paid in cash, and I'm not about to drive back to Austin to be like, yeah, well, she didn't like it, so, you know, here you go. And so, yeah, that happened. I did write about that in, I think it was my second book. Finding the silver lining. She was so mad about that too. She was so mad, and I'm like, do you realize how many people are going to compliment that? Like, it's actually, like, just give me a break. And so then when I painted the ceiling medallion, she was like, oh, so that's going to be a permanent color? I was like, yeah, it's, you have this type of furniture, and even though it's a light blue, like, because of the glitter in it, it'll change colors, so like, you could actually put other stuff with it and it'll look just as good. I mean, if you want it to be a centerpiece, like, it can be a centerpiece. If you want it to like blend in with the rest of the decor, it'll blend in with the rest of the decor. There's a whole bunch of different stuff you could do. And Anna looks at me and she's just like, well, I guess since, it won't be returnable. And it's like, really? You didn't even pay for it. Like, what is your problem? It's better than the brass fixtures that you got going on that haven't been updated. I mean, nothing wrong with brass, but, I'm just throwing this out there, it actually, and so, yeah, that happened. That happened. Though not the only time my biological mother was like that. Everybody has stories of their biological parents where, I'm sure I would guess. Maybe not some. I don't know, but yeah, that occurred. And then there was this other time where whatchamacallit, so what was it? So Mike and I went to Lowe's or Home Depot, and he and I joked about it being our toy store. Like, what toys can I find here? And look at this toy store. Look at all the stuff in this toy store. So many toys. And for me, multifaceted on that, pun intended, since, those who get that sort of say, multifaceted. But, Anna and Patricia, my biological sister, go to, I think they went to San Marcos to go look at the college. And Mike and I, we were walking around, and I dropped him off at the house. And after we were done, and I was like, do you want me to wait until you go in? and then, drive off. He's like, no, get out of here. James and Lydia, they're tired. And so, all right. Well, a couple hours later, I call because something felt weird. And I'm like, hey, and just kept ringing, and stuff like that. Now, Anna had taken the cell phone with her and apparently took his keys from him. I didn't know that she did that. And so, we told her that when we were done going to Home Depot and Lowe's, that, would, drop him off at the house. So she knew that he was going to go back to the house. Well, because he didn't answer, I was like, I better go over. Something doesn't feel right. I knew that he had diabetes, late stage diabetes. So it's like, okay, I don't understand it fully, but I know that that's important and there's something that feels weird. So I parked the van and I admit, I kept the van running. Because my children were in the car and the AC and stuff like that. So go up to the door, I ring the doorbell, nothing, no answer. But then I hear a cough in the back. I'm like, oh shit. So I run over and I'm like, hey. And so I climb the fence. I see him in the back patio with his shirt off. And I'm like, why don't you go inside? And he said that he couldn't because Anna had locked the doors. And I was like, and apparently had his keys. And I was like, well, let's get you out of here. So my biological father is like much taller than me. He's like 6'3", and I think he's like the last time I saw him, he was like 250, 275. So I jump over the fence and, well, as I pull him up and then, carry him out and stuff like that, put him in the car or van, and then drive back to the house in my house and do everything that I can and stuff. He's like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. I'm like, oh no, I mean, I know I can do some stuff, but I think that it's okay, fine, I won't take you to the hospital, but okay. All right. And so then Anna shows back up to my house, and she doesn't have Patricia with her. And she goes, what are you doing here, to Mike? And I look at her, and I was like, I picked him up because he couldn't get into the house. And Anna was like, well, you should have just left him there. And I was like, no, I'm not going to just leave him there. I mean, he was sweating profusely. He has diabetes as well as high blood pressure and a bunch of other things. So I did what I could to make sure that he was healthy. And, obviously he's doing much better and stuff like that. But, get over it. And she threw a temper tantrum. It's like, not in my house. Not in my house. So, she took him back to the house and stuff like that. And after that, he never once after that did he not make sure to have his keys. And then as well, he kept fans on the back patio. So that way, anytime, if there was ever a situation, anything close to that, he had a set of fans to be able to cool off, because it was like July or August in San Antonio, Texas. Look up those weather, heat indexes. So it doesn't take a energy to figure that out. And Anna was pissed. Oh, she was pissed. She was infuriated that I went and picked him up. And I was like, I don't really care. But on a happier note, in reference to that, so when Mike, Anna, and Patricia moved to San Antonio, Mike found the house, bought the house, all that sort of stuff that they moved into, bringing Patricia down with him because, she had to go to college or high school before, before school started, so that way she wouldn't be behind or whatever. And so they walk in the house and they see Nick and Princess. Now, Nick and Princess were miniature Schnauzer dogs. And Nick would not go anywhere near Mike at all, like whatsoever. And I made the joke to him, I was like, maybe he thinks you're gonna eat him, because biological father is first generation Chinese. You don't see, in China, you don't see dogs running around on the street. You don't. And if you do, it doesn't last very long. I'm not being racist. I'm just saying, like, I'm not being racist. I'm just pointing out a reality. And so Nick at one point in time wants to go around the couch and go to the kitchen because I was getting food ready. And Mike was laying on the floor in the area, so the living room had an L-shaped sectional couch. And so Nick was over by the armoire, and so there's the armoire, the fireplace, and then Mike was laying over here where there was like this little itty bitty, like 3 foot at most gap between Mike and the edge of the L-shaped couch. And Nick looks over at Mike and then looks at, like, tries to look like, what are you doing over there? I smell you're cooking. And so instead of just walking past Mike and then go into the kitchen, he ran, jumped on top of the couch, jumped onto the back of the couch, goes to jump over, didn't realize that there was a counter, smacks his face into the counter and falls to the floor. And then because I had put wood laminate floor, or wait, no, there was tile there. So either way, it doesn't really matter. Just trying to get away and then, you know, run over to where I was with the food. And I was just like, wow, maybe he really does think you're going to eat him. And then Mike looks at Nick and he goes, you racist dog, you. And then he said he hadn't had food like Nick in years. And I was just like, maybe he could tell that he really... It is what it is. It's reality. So, you know, like my video, like, watch all of my official videos and subscribe to my channel and encourage others to do that too.